sort of what music gives you in terms of taking you to somewhere else or being in that moment. I'm just getting this guy hyped up in a podcast studio. We're underground right now, bro.
Let's go. That's one.
This is so much more than just showing up and DJing. I'm telling a story. I'm giving people happiness.
Where was like the moment that you got like a big break? Like, I want to continue to do this. From South Bend to Evansville and everywhere in between, this is Get In, the show focused on the Hoosier State and the incredible stories happening here today. I'm Nate Spangle, founder of Get Indiana, and I will be your host for today's conversation. Hey everyone, quick pause in the action to introduce you to Flutterman Von Reest, a true hidden gem in Indiana, especially for all you watch aficionados out there. Founded by an Indiana State graduate from Batesville, this family-owned brand has deep Hoosier roots dating back to the 1830s. They are even proud members of the Society of Indiana Pioneers, which I didn't know existed but is a sweet organization. They are based in Indy and are redefining luxury watches. Meticulously crafted in Kokomo by a certified watchmaker and his apprentice, the designs blend classic elegance with a modern twist. Don't miss their Chase Briscoe Race Day VIP Experience giveaway, an incredible opportunity for race fans. Chase is an awesome NASCAR driver from Mitchell, Indiana. You're going to be learning more about him soon. Follow Flutterman Von Reest to explore their stunning collections and join their journey to greatness. Today I'm joined by Sherm, an Indiana-raised DJ who got his start back in Bloomington and is now playing shows all over the country. He's been DJing for the last 12 years, and he's gearing up to headline Turntable right here in Broad Ripple on June 6th. Today, what we're going to be covering is how one cornfield concert changed his entire music trajectory, the rise of EDM, electronic dance music here in Indiana, and how growing up in the Midwest, in Indiana, has impacted his career. Sherm, welcome to the show.
Nate, it is such a pleasure, man. Cheers.
Cheers. All right, we do have to give a little shout
chilly
out.
water.
We're it is the day of recording is Cinco de Mayo. So
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo. We're having a little chili water brewing company, Lima Ranchera. Cerveza Lima.
Yes.
Or Lima Ranchera. There we go.
Lima Ranchera.
So we usually say no free advertising, but chili water, welcome. You guys hit me up if you want.
Yo, Loki, my mom picked this up for us.
Hey, shout out.
Just like back in the day.
Shout out, Mrs. Sherm. Appreciate you. Just like back. Wait, we don't want to have it right
Yeah,
there.
sorry. Yeah.
Man, okay. So you got your start DJing back in Bloomington.
Yeah.
Which I think is like a common thing that a lot of like, I don't know, kids that like to, party, socialize, like, oh, I want to be the DJ.
For sure, the aux cord DJ,
the aux cord
right?
guy.
That's where it all starts.
So did you get your start on the aux cord?
I did. Dorm rooms, Bordner. I can't remember my dorm level or my room, but that's where it all started, really. I always loved burning CDs in high school. That's kind of where like the selector process started, I would say.
High school would have been like late 2010s?
Yeah, so like...
Or late 2000s?
2008, 9, 10, 11.
Okay, so like right at the end of burnt CDs.
Yes, right at the end of burnt CDs.
What was the title of like the number one burnt CD you made?
Oh, dude, had to
Mix
be the one that I burnt for my current wife. I took her to junior prom, and I think it was called Matt's Greatest Hits or something like that.
Wow.
She doesn't call me Sherm. She calls me Matt.
She calls me Matt. Okay.
Banger after banger, 17 tracks, going hard in the Jeep Liberty, and listen, it was just pure class. We got anything from indie folk to some underground rap music, maybe some Wiz Khalifa, maybe some Coldplay, things of that nature.
Ooh, back in junior prom, the mixtape. Now it's like I don't even know where you'd find a CD player to play Matt's Greatest Hits.
You'd have to put it in an Xbox or something.
That is exactly how you would do it. Good call. All right, so starts there with burning CDs.
Yeah.
When burning a CD, DJing, the whole thing is like a lot of times the best DJs like feel more than just like, oh, this song is going to get people going. It's like you have a connection to music. Like where did this connection to music first raise up for you?
Well, it certainly wasn't the French horn being assigned to me in 5th grade. I was, as S is later in the alphabet, as we all know. Everyone wants to play the trumpet or the saxophone. I got stuck with the French horn. And actually what happened was I sat with one of my oldest friends from Indiana. His name's Thomas Buchanan. He is a music savant. This is someone who has really listened to all sorts of music his whole life. He's an incredible pianist as well. And he was the one that really exposed me to just tons of different types of artists. I've always been someone who's looking to hear new music, explore new things, travel, all that sort of stuff, right? So I'm very open to it. But that's where I really got the bug pretty young. I'm definitely grateful for my mom and dad, who were a big influence in terms of musicality. I always wanted to go to concerts. I went to see Journey, Hart and somebody else at what was Verizon Wireless Music Center, for anyone listening that's that old. I think there might be even some older listeners that called it Deerfield, I think.
Deer Creek.
Deer Creek.
Deer
Okay.
Creek, come on.
Nate knows.
Come on.
But always loved the live experience.
Yeah, because it was Deer Creek, then Verizon. Then
Klipsch.
then Ruoff.
Then Ruoff. There hasn't been anything in between.
I think those are the 4 iterations.
It's currently Ruoff.
And now it's currently going to be something that's, I mean, they're going to get a new title sponsor probably because now they're charging for parking. So they're going to have just stacks of cash. So maybe they'll go back to Deer Creek because they have the stacks of cash. Live Nation, if you see this, I'm not sorry.
Yeah, we're not sorry. Figure out the parking. But that's definitely where it started for me. Just the sort of what music gives you in terms of taking you to somewhere else or being in that moment. And that's what I always wanted to sort of achieve when it came to DJing. Because one of my first experiences, like you mentioned in the beginning, was seeing Avicii, probably top 3 most famous electronic music producers, RIP, of all time. And I saw him in 2011, but right after he released his global hit Levels, which is the track that really blew him up.
Which is like an EDM. It's like on the Mount Rushmore of EDM.
It just goes off. What are you going to do? And it's so simple. That's the crazy thing, the simplicity of that melody. But I remember being in college, dance music was really blowing up in 2011. This is when the EDM boom, as we call it,
What was like the first EDM like song, like
that I heard?
Was it Levels? Like was Levels the one that like put EDM to the top?
Levels is what took it. I think really blew it up in the US. But actually the song, I remember, I think it was like a homecoming after party. My friend showed me this track by Steve Aoki and Bloody Beetroots called Warp 1.9, which is, looking back, a very intense dance music song. It's like, it literally sounds like race cars. I mean, the song is called Warp 1.9. So I listened to that. I was like, wow, this is insane. And then I went and listened to Deadmau5, which was a little bit in the middle, and he's still someone who's an icon today. And then I started, I was like, wow, like I like this. And then you got to college, and then it was sort of everywhere.
Yeah, and how did Avicii end up playing in a cornfield in Bloomington? Like, give me the whole story behind that.
He became so big so quickly that there wasn't a venue in Bloomington, let alone a lot of college towns, that were going to be able to sell hard tickets to monitor how many people were coming out. So you literally needed a cornfield. So what better place in Southern Indiana?
Who hosted it?
Man, I think it was MES Presents, actually. Shout out to Mitch Schoeneman, who used to do that and book a lot of DJs that came through that I actually ended up opening for over the years in Bloomington at a place called Dunkirk.
This was, what year was this? 2011?
2011. Yeah.
At Bounce Music Festival?
Bounce Music Festival. That was the other one too. But shout out to MES Presents as well. Yeah, Bounce Music Festival was huge. That's right. So they brought in, Avicii was first, and there were other big acts on that lineup too. But then later that year, they brought in Alesso, they brought in Tiesto. There was somebody else. I was pledging at the time, so all I did was drive people and drop them off and watch from a distance. That was unfortunate.
I mean, this is like this is nuts.
Who's on that lineup? Okay, yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, so somebody took a video on their
This
phone.
is like literally like...
Yeah, that was it, dude. The glow sticks.
A camcorder or something.
Yeah, not high quality.
This looks like something you would have downloaded off of like LimeWire or something.
Absolutely.
Like, look at that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't even that big of a stage, and there was just such high demand. I mean, there must have been a couple thousand people there for sure. And they literally, I think it was called Pickwick Farms, or what was it called? I can't remember. But everything changed for me that day. I saw sort of the aura that a DJ, or as I always think about them as entertainers, of what he did without even a microphone. He just played music and everyone was so into it. And it really just sort of shaped my future as like, wow, this is awesome. I want to be able to DJ. And I started DJing really in the dorm rooms. I didn't have a controller. It was something called Virtual DJ. It was...
Yeah. Dude. I downloaded Virtual DJ.
You did?
Because I wanted to be a DJ. Okay. Because I thought it was sick.
Yeah, of course.
But like then I never like figured out how to do anything with it. And
It's
all
tough.
I would do would be like when I had I like mix like Spotify now does this for you automatically.
Yeah.
Like Spotify will take whatever the song is and blend it into the next song.
Yeah.
And then I would just like use the air horn like or like pump it up. You got to pump
There
it,
you
pump
go.
it. You know, like and I would just like play those different sounds like
Oh, it's the best.
But like what is the art of DJing?
Yeah, the art of DJing. I mean, when I think back to virtual DJ, I was pretty much just fading a track from one to the other. The art of DJing, as I mentioned in the beginning, is really being a selector. So it's giving the crowd what they didn't know they wanted. That's sort of what I try and keep in the back of my head, right? You want to give them some familiarity, but I'm not a wedding DJ out here, and no hate to wedding DJs, because that's actually sometimes a tougher job than being a performing DJ. I'm trying to give them an experience that they're going to get, but they couldn't quite put their finger on what it's going to be. So I want to play music that makes them feel nostalgic. I want to play music that actually makes them go to their friend and go, oh my gosh, like, can you believe this song right now? Or a song that makes them say, oh, like, this is incredible, or this reminds me of this. When it comes to the technical process, it is definitely more complicated than I think people make it out to be. You know, hitting play, I think that was a big thing. Pre-recorded sets for a while.
Was that a thing? Like, that definitely happened, right?
It is a thing. I mean, it still is a thing. I mean, that is it's a whole part of the industry that I think people don't understand.
Well, like, I feel like I went to a few big booty release parties, like those, and it's like, they're not mixing anything crazy. They're just pressing play on like the latest release and then being hype.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, how much do people even care if they're really DJing?
Yeah, and then they bring out a saxophone that has flares coming out of
Two Friends puts on an amazing show.
Dude, it's pretty legit.
They put on an amazing show, and they're great producers, great guys. I actually met them the first time I DJed a music festival in 2018. I finagled my way backstage. I was DJing the silent disco. They don't give you the same wristbands as the regular artist. You know, you're a silent disco DJ.
You're like, oh yeah, that guy.
Listen, make friends with the bouncers, make friends with the ticket holders, the bar backs, all the people that you don't think can help you because they can't help you. You never know who they're going to become. I promise you that. Yeah. So I get backstage, I'm talking to them. I'm like having an out of body experience because I was just really a few years into Chicago at that point, and I'm talking to two friends, such good guys. But when it comes down to like the art of DJing, the art of performing, there's so many things that you have to nail. There's no room for error, especially in these big stages like Ultra Music Festival, EDC, Coachella. There's visuals that have to be hit. There's tracks that have to be timed out. You also usually only have an hour. That hour when you're DJing a festival set goes by like this. So fast.
Like, what's like the average like song length? Like, do you keep a song for like, hey, we do 50 songs for a little over a minute each?
Sometimes I'll build out sets in little sections. Like, I want sort of this energy, then I want this energy later. So I will have options for shorter songs for sure. But I would say on average 2 to 4 minutes.
Do you have like emergency like? Oh gosh! Like
that absolutely
didn't hit. That didn't hit. I have to like press the.
Dude, I've got an edit. Shout out to my boy Isaac Palmer, who's opening up for the show. It's 1,000 Miles, Vanessa Carlton. Who doesn't? I don't care who you are. Okay. Look at Nate. See, he wants to. Yeah.
Come on.
And then it goes into No Scrubs, TLC.
Ooh.
And it kind of mashed it up, and you're like, oh, so it throws it back. You know, you don't feel like you're at a DJ set. And then it goes into a remix of Don Toliver's Bandit that Isaac and I made. And it's my go-to, honestly,
okay,
last year.
When you say made.
Yeah, produced.
You took the lyrics of Bandit?
Yes. So we took Don Toliver Bandit and pretty much just the acapella, so the vocals, and then recreated our own version.
Okay, that was the piece of virtual DJ that I could never figure out. Like, where do you find just the vocals?
So these days, AI is really on another level. You can do it within a lot of the digital audio workspaces. I use Logic, and within Logic, you can separate the stems, it's called.
Dude,
but there's lots of tools.
Piece that I never got into because I wanted, like, we were talking about this a little bit before we got going. It's like like now they're doing it. It's MCD40 or whatever. But I wanted to take country. I wanted to make the big booty mix of country music.
Yeah.
And then they did it, and then it was really sick. And
listen, I remixed Chicken Fried Zach Brown Band.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was one long way overdue. Huge Zach Brown fan.
Yeah.
I also love Kenny Chesney, so I'm working on a Kenny Chesney. Kenny's, it's almost untouchable. There's some stuff you don't want to remix because you're like, does it really need to be? But Chicken Fried, I was like, I need to create a moment. The first time I dropped it was actually in LA at this big nightclub called Exchange, which used to be an old stock exchange. Crazy cool club. LA's super diverse scene. And here I am, this guy from Indiana, wearing a Malort sweater, by the way. And I'm opening up for Wookie, who's this huge artist, good friend of mine, really good guy. He put me on the show. And I'm like, we just finished this song. So I brought out my friend Spectre, who's actually from Temecula, California. And for those that don't know, California is pretty rural outside of the big cities.
Yeah.
Like Temecula is country. Like California country.
It's California country.
California country. So him and I remix this. He comes on stage with me, and it goes down to the breakdown. I was like, I was raised under the shade of a Georgia pine. And everyone's looking at me like, what? And I'm like up literally like on a box. Like, let's go. And it goes into this great drop. It's so much fun.
Do they know the song?
Nah, some did. Like, here's the thing. When it hits, it hits. I can't make everybody happy. But as a DJ, I can take little groups that I see in the crowd and let them sort of do the hard work for me. You know, because if you've been in the crowd and like you and your friends love this song, but somebody else does it and they're just kind of being lame and you're like, why are you being lame? Like, it's a great song. Just like enjoy it. Yeah. So the people in the crowd really do the hard work for me.
The DJs love me.
I'm sure, dude.
I will always give them some energy back. Like, I see what you're doing
Thank you. On behalf of all DJs, thank you for your service. Yeah.
So, but take me through, we're going to go back a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I want to know how you become an actual DJ. Yeah. Like a lot of people, myself included, loved ripping the aux cord in college. For sure. Like it was great. You play a banger and like everyone like screams. Yeah. Like for me, it was like
the girls come over, they're like, 20, what song was that?
Like, oh. And it's like 2018, 2017, 2018, like Closer, but Chainsmokers.
Oh, of course.
Press play, everyone went berserk, dude.
That always works.
Shout out to the Delt House at DePaul. Like
shout out to DePaul in general, man. I DJ'd the few ATO parties there. It was so much fun.
So like that's like so you got to like become an actual DJ. Yeah. How did that happen?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't think anyone's ever put it so bluntly. So respect, because it really is like not as clear as it might seem, right? Like, how do you go from being the aux cord DJ to sort of like the frat DJ to like taking the career more seriously, and then all the way to where I'm at now, which is a touring DJ? Yeah. There are lots of steps in between, and I think it depends on how seriously are you taking this. A lot of people get into it for the parties. A lot of people get into it for quick cash. A lot of people get into it for XYZ reasons. It took me a little bit longer to figure out why I really wanted to continue doing this and become an artist, and it was because growing up in Indiana, there's not a lot of DJs, right? And I found that the culture of the music and the music discovery, and not the party aspect like drinking, but like being with your friends in that environment with a certain type of music was like the exact place for me. It's almost like I was searching for it my entire life. So when I started surrounding myself with artists in Chicago who had been doing this, especially some of the older ones that are just like tastemakers, great DJs, that really showed me the ropes, and I took it seriously, and I started my podcast, and I started a brand, and I had a theme, and I had my why. Then I really felt like, okay, like this is so much more than just showing up and DJing. I'm telling a story. I'm giving people happiness, whatever it is.
Like when you started to go to different schools and DJ, like whether it be at DePaul or somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then you graduate, and it's like, okay, well, Matt, your parents coming. Matt, we probably need to talk.
Oh, my parents were very confused for sure.
They're like, okay, so like you had fun playing music for your friends in college in the fraternity basement. Now you need to like get a job and do a thing. But like, how did you continue to balance that and grow your career and actually get on tour and on shows and do this professionally?
I wish it was something more complicated than I just worked my ass off. And I actually have had a day job this entire time as well. Yeah. I'm a director of enterprise sales at a brokerage in Chicago. So
isn't that kind of wild?
Like I do logistics. Yeah.
Someone is like you're a director, like you're someone's boss.
I know. It's that
but then
funny,
it's like, I went and saw my boss last night.
Yo, dude, my customers come out and see me. Literally, my customers come out. Just before I was here, I was literally this guy at this company. It was a cold call. I sent him my profile. On my profile sheet, I say that I'm a DJ. And he looked me up and he followed me on YouTube, subscribed to my YouTube. And then I had a cold call with him. It's amazing what happens when you put yourself out there.
You're just authentic.
And you're truly yourself. Because for a while, I was like, what am I doing? I definitely had those questions. Like, am I trying to be a DJ? Am I trying to be a normal person? It's hard to balance.
Wait, you're saying DJs aren't normal people?
Yeah, no, we're not. We're absolutely not.
No, 100%. People. You couldn't be.
No.
So then you graduate. Obviously, you're working corporate. All that stuff's going on. Where was like the moment that you got like a big break and were like, oh, this is like, I want to continue to do this?
I was working really, really hard from, I would say, like the time I graduated, 2015 to 2018, I was playing a lot of open format gigs in Chicago.
What does that mean?
Open format meaning all genres. So like what I would call a Sherm set, right? So I'm playing songs that most people want to hear. You call it top 40 or whatever, right?
Yeah. Like
the little variety.
You just like call up a bar in Chicago and say, hey, will you book me to DJ?
That's the hard part. So I was going to these places and selling myself. That's part of the reason I started the podcast. I was trying to get gigs, and I would go up to the DJ while they're performing at like 12:30 at night, and I'd be like, hey, I'm trying to get gigs here. They're like, who are you? Get off the stage. Because they don't know me, right? I get it. You don't want someone coming up and bothering you. So I said, I need to just sort of reset and figure out like, where am I going to go? So I played all these bars.
Wait. Yeah. How? You just said they didn't want to talk to you. How did you get that first gig?
I hit them up outside of those environments, I would just literally DM or email or get their information. I would
Like
say,
the bar owner or the bar manager? or
yeah,
whatever?
whoever it was, a talent buyer, bar owner. It
Do a lot of those
varies.
bars in Chicago have talent buyers?
Yes.
For like just like an average. Like
Well, I wouldn't call them a talent buyer. A lot of them are run by DJ collectives.
oh.
Yeah. So like a DJ who
Yeah, kind of unionized.
they're like a little bit. Yeah. There's DJ unions. There needs to be. We have no health insurance, FYI.
Honestly, I could have guessed that one.
Could have guessed that one. But like there might be a resident DJ who has DJ friends and they run a
The
collective.
resident DJ?
Yeah, resident. So it's part of his full-time job, right? So he's playing there maybe every Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And he needs people to play before
At
him.
like what kind of place?
Well, for those that have been to Chicago, it could be a variety of places, right? It could be more of a hop-in bar that plays dance music. It could be, I DJ'd in hotel lobbies for W1 Lakeshore, right? Like, there's tons of different gigs you can get in Chicago.
Yeah.
So
Put that in indie comparison. What kind of like is there like a DJ in residence somewhere here?
I would say downtown, like
Envy?
Brothers.
Brothers.
Like, think about places like Brothers. Like, don't think about clubs. Think about like, Brothers or like even Kilroy's, stuff like that, right?
like hopping, those hopping bars.
Yeah, but like you're not the center of attention. You know what I mean? Like you're DJing the music. There might be a dance floor, but like not all eyes are on you.
Yeah.
So I was doing a lot of those gigs. I got better as a DJ. I credit a lot of my skills from that time. But I was trying to play more artist style gigs.
Yeah, like you can't play like the chicken fry remix when
No.
you're DJing like a hotel lobby.
No.
Like they're probably not ready for that.
No, they're not ready for that. I'm playing a lot of, disco remixes and things like that. And those paid pretty well was the thing. Like the worse the gig, the more it gets paid. That's kind of what I say. Yeah. Dude, a lot of these artists don't get paid for these festival gigs. Coachella, it's true. Yeah.
What?
I said I played 3 times in Miami during Miami Music Week. I made $100. So sometimes it's about exposure, right? And they sell you on that. And that's kind of the thing I'm trying to change. It's tough.
You gotta hope that you rock out and gain some followers.
Yeah, dude. That's why it's so hard to make money. It's so hard to make money as an artist. Not just DJing, an artist, any musician in general, especially now too. It's expensive to tour. It's expensive to market yourself. You can't just make music. You have to have all these things.
Well, and somewhere you're talking about market yourself. Somewhere along there, you started a podcast.
Started the podcast, Sherm in the Booth. I just recorded episode 249. So I started that in September of 2017, sorry.
Why did you know you needed to? Like, no one was podcasting. Like,
No one.
almost no one in 2016.
I actually literally was like one of the first, I wouldn't say in podcasters, period. But for so long, there was no one doing what I was doing, which was interviewing my peers in the music industry.
Were they weird of like, what the hell is a podcast?
No, they loved it. They loved it because they actually finally had a platform to tell their story, as complicated or simple as it might be. So that's how I was able to get gigs. I would say, hey, DJ, whoever it is, like I want to interview you, want to get your full story. Like I'd meet them in person, Nate, right? Like we're talking about right now. In the beginning, dude, I literally had like a Shure microphone, shout out Shure, and I would plug it into my iPhone, and we would sit maybe like this close together and talk into the microphone.
Like one mic.
One mic.
Yes.
One mic, dude. And I wasn't doing video until episode 71.
Dude, 71 is still early. Like, what year was
I know, yeah.
What year was that?
So this was 2019.
2019 video podcast?
Yeah. I know.
That's okay. Early.
You can go back, yeah.
Early on the trend.
Early on the trend, or maybe that was 2018, 2019. I can't remember exactly. Probably think 2019 because 2020 COVID happened. And to actually answer your question, when I really knew things were changing, it was kind of crazy because the biggest gig, one of the biggest gigs
that intro is sick.
You like that? Yeah, dude.
Sick.
I know. I got to get a new one, actually. It's a little outdated now. In 2020, March 6th and 7th, the weekend before COVID happened, I opened for Galantis 2 nights in a row at this venue in Chicago called Aragon Ballroom.
I've been to Aragon Ballroom.
Unbelievable place.
It kind
right?
of, it kind of looks like old school inside. Like
it's the starry ceiling and kind of like the Middle Eastern, like it's like African sort of style that they have. The decor.
Have you been to the Indiana rooftop ballroom?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah, it kind of has like Egyptian room vibes almost too.
Yeah,
Something like that, you know?
Yeah.
And it was amazing. Like I literally played the first slot, but it was completely sold out. So I was playing to a crowd of like 2,000 people. And I did 2 nights in a row, and I walked in and worked that week, and I was like, man, I think I got to think about like going full time. You know, that's crazy. COVID happened. Thank goodness I did not quit my job.
That
And
would have been.
that would have been bad. And dude, I'm telling you, like I was having conversations, like thinking about it, like with my now wife.
Were you? I would say, were you married at the time?
I got married in July 2022.
Okay, so not married, but
Not
serious.
Married. Definitely serious.
With the, I mean, it has to be a really good burnt CD. That's all I'm saying.
That's a good callback.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had that great gig. COVID happened.
How did you get in with Galantis?
These talent buyers that I now work with today, shout out to Collective. They're amazing. They put on North Coast.
Wait, this is a different DJ collective, but they're called Collective?
Yeah, funny enough. With no E. Yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah, very, very good. Collective, no E. But they put on North Coast and they do a lot of talent buying across the country. And they're really good people. Good Chicago guys.
And then they were just like,
They booked me for that.
hey, dude, you want to?
Well, what was cool about it was my hat got thrown in the ring with a lot of other acts. You know, you submit for approval. A lot of times, for those that wonder how people get gigs, it's not just knowing someone. You have to have a brand that's good enough for the manager or the artist to say, yeah, like this person looks like they're qualified enough to open for me. Because people come to the show. If you have a bad opening act, it can really change the tone of the headliner. Like, the crowd's not into it, the crowd's thrown off, or the crowd's too hype, right? Something like that.
The crowd's too hype?
Yeah, like if like you go too hard as an opener, it's like considered to be a deadly sin. I would say it's changed a lot now because so many people are artists and there's not a lot of pride in being the resident DJ or a really good opener anymore. Because everyone wants to be an artist, which is a good thing. We'll get into it in a little bit. They gave me a lot of great opportunities leading up to that, and finally I got approved. Galantis, I was literally on like their tour video. It was like Sherm, and I was like, what?
I was like, damn.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
Peanut butter and jelly. That's a
Peanut
great
butter and
song.
jelly, dude.
Spread
Yeah.
it like.
Yes, dude. And I became a huge Galantis fan after that, too.
I mean, I would too.
They're great performers.
Come on. Quick pause in the action. Do you want to be able to submit questions to my future guests in advance? Do you want access to exclusive discounts with our Hoosier partners? Do you want to make sure you're invited to all of our private in-person events across the state? If you answered yes to all or any of those questions, you need to head to Instagram and subscribe to our Get In Insiders channel. For $4.99 a month, you're going to be able to ask our guests questions, get great discounts, and above all, help us fund all of this amazing Indiana content that we create. Head over to Instagram at Nate Spangle and subscribe. Now let's get back to the episode.
And COVID happened, and I was just like, what do I do? So I doubled down on Sherm in the booth. I did so many interviews, and this is when I really blew it up, I would say, in terms of like the following, the guests that I had on, because all these world-class touring DJs were available. So I was DMing anyone and everyone, being like, "Hey, do you want to come on my podcast?" They're yeah,
give us an example of like what Instagram following was right before the Galantis show.
Maybe 3,000.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. So like,
I've made it up to 15K now, which is awesome. Obviously, I still want to continue to grow, but it's a solid, really good
did that
community.
all come
I'm proud
from then when you started grinding on the pod?
Yeah, everything really in culmination. I got better at content. I got better at just the podcast sort of conversation. It was much more natural. How were you
learning about all, like it's one thing to learn your skill, your craft of DJing.
Yeah.
Another to learn about how to be like a marketer and an agent and like all the other pieces of it. Like, how were you learning about it?
It's really tough. And you do have to sort of put yourself out there and be vulnerable because not every piece of content is going to be good. These days, I actually believe in quantity over quality. And a lot of times I was worried about the quality. If it's doesn't look good enough and it's not going to be well received, people aren't going to engage with it, whatever it is. So what I did was I just said, screw it. I'm going to put out as much content as I possibly can. And I realized that Sherm in the Booth, this podcast, is a content machine. You know this. We could have clipped 20 clips already of this interview, right? So that's why I started doing remote interviews with video as well. And having bigger DJs on and talking about current events, talking about old stories, all this sort of stuff.
Who was the biggest DJ you got right after COVID?
The one that's probably the biggest now is Max Styler. He's a really, really big DJ now. Like, he's blowing up. He's been in the game a long time, though. Became a good friend after that even, too. He's such a good guy. But that was the cool part about Sherm in the Booth as well, is like, yeah, I'm like talking to them about their story, but I'm also like just sort of hanging out with them, you know, and getting to know them, and we're telling stories. And
yeah, it's kind of like the ultimate little like.
It's a networking tool. It's a friendship tool.
Yeah, like
it
you
really
just get to hang out, like
get one-on-one connection with people.
Especially back in 2020.
Yeah, dude.
Like no one's being like, yeah, how many people listen to your podcast? They're like, oh, well, somebody wants to have me on their podcast. Let's go. Like, I'm in.
And I've found that sort of regardless of the level that people are at, they're humbled by that because I'm so honored to be here being on someone else's podcast because one, I see how awesome it is and how great of a job that you do. But like I've been in your position 249 times, right? Like it's tough. You have a lot of expectations, you're putting yourself out there and you have to be consistent. So through that consistency, I started putting out more content consistently.
Yeah.
And it helped me sort of just create like my routine. And that's when I started to do a lot of different types of content. And when I realized that I need to start putting myself out there a little bit more, like who is Sherm? People want to follow Sherm. So I started doing things about why I like to cook. I was doing these things called Sherm's Word. It was ridiculous, dude. I was just coming up with anything. I'm just stuck in my apartment. I was cooking. It was like why I love cooking. It was like why I love basketball. It was just like more about me. And became very good at sort of doing performative on camera stuff, just me. In fact,
there's like an art to that.
There is an art to that. It's really tough. I will tell you though, what you should do one time, and I challenge you to do this, is interview yourself. Because if you sat here and you acted like somebody else, I came up with this character. His name was Ramon. I don't know. It was a terrible accent. And I interviewed myself. And it was like, okay, Sherm, like, you know, sort of like this, you know, just basic questions. And I would be like, who is this guy? Like, how do you know all these things about me? And I did it recently and I did it again and it's so much fun, but you realize like, oh my God, like you're not there and I'm trying to act like you are there.
That's wild.
So I did stuff like that and I like went way outside my comfort zone.
Yeah, like when they do like a lot of people do the solo sketches and they'll like change outfits. So they'll be like, they'll ask like 10 questions in a row right here. And then they'll go over, remember what they asked, maybe play it and then be like, oh yeah.
It's exhausting.
Great question.
Yeah, yes. Exactly, dude. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, but that's when I feel like, and I would give that advice to anyone out there that's trying to be a content creator. Just start putting stuff out there. Don't be afraid.
I think when people say content creator, they think like, oh, I'm not. And it's like, if you want to do, you want to be a DJ, you want to be a country music artist, you want to be
a podcaster.
What
about you? I mean, when did you say like, I have all these things I'm passionate about. I want to start putting it on camera. Like, what made you want to start a podcast?
Well, it actually was started at my old company, and I got tagged to be a co-host of it. Nice. Back in 23, I was super lucky. I had to be. It was like a VC, a CEO, and me interviewing like a local CEO once a week. It was awesome. But after like we had a few iterations of, you know, like how many like Indianapolis tech founders? Like, there's not that many of them. So we had them all on, and the podcast hadn't really grown. Yeah. But I was starting to put out this extra content to get people to watch the show. Like I was like, my top 3 this, or like learn about this in Indiana, like blah 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 blah. And I ended up just like that took off, and people loved the videos.
Yeah, of
and
course.
And I just get really excited because I actually care.
Yeah.
And they could sense that, you know. So I ended up last year, literally a year ago at the Indy 500, I was like still working at my company. The podcast was still owned by them. We were putting out episodes, but they were like getting to the point with that. They were like, I don't really know. Our main sponsor just dropped off. So
yeah,
it was like what I loved about my job. Like everything else was not bad, but I loved this. Yeah. And I was like, oh, if that gets cut, I'm going to be really sad.
Yeah.
And I went on this mission, this quest to be the first truck in the infield at the Indy 500. And I gained like 10 or 15,000 followers.
Amazing.
Like I went from like 10 or 15K. I went from like 10K to over 20K in 6 weeks.
Yeah, it can happen that quickly.
And it was just like banger after banger talking about this truck that we flipped. And I ended up like getting paid 10 grand to tailgate at the Indy 500. And I was like, if I can make 10 grand,
that is an Indiana dream right there, man.
I can make 10 grand tailgating. And so then I took the 10 grand. Like I ended up quitting my job and acquiring the podcast from my old company to come in and take it in, make it my own, and make it more just about Indiana in general, or like Hoosiers doing cool things.
Absolutely.
Like people that, and again, like you live in Chicago, but you were born here, raised here, like Indiana raised a Midwest man.
Yes, sir.
Oh my gosh. The guy who from Kokomo, like he's from the Kokomo area, he ran around the entire perimeter of the United States.
Did he?
That was like my first episode I recorded in the studio, Cameron Balzer. He went up to Cleveland and literally ran to Maine, then down to Key West, then over to like the southern part of California on foot. Self-supported with a baby carrier. This dude, Cameron is the guy. 200 days, 11,000 miles. 200 and something days. Don't quote me on how many days. Nuts. But I was like, I want to talk to that guy.
Yeah,
he
absolutely.
has nothing to do with tech, nothing to do with entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
It's like, but that guy needs to. And then I got like Randy Lewandowski, the president CEO of the Indianapolis Indians. I got some like really cool ones lined up after.
Dude, the guy who started Hope Plumbing, by the way.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Dude, good dudes.
If you're a Pacers fan and you're subscribed, you've seen the Hope Plumbing commercial.
Oh yeah, you get it.
Oh,
You're
I
being a
get
sports
it.
guy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
That's awesome,
But
though,
like
man.
that's how we ended up here. And then, but you do have to just like put content out there, get it out, and if it's good, everyone will see it. And if it's bad, the algorithm will kill it.
Yeah.
And it won't matter. Like that's the piece. It's like people get so worried, and it's like, dude, no one sees it.
Yeah, and I think that's the part that people have trouble getting over.
Yeah.
Is the feeling of being judged. But guess what? The people are judging that aren't putting themselves out there.
No, and like I always say this: no one who's doing better than me is ever like turning back to criticize me.
Facts.
You know, like
Facts.
like so many aspiring like podcasters or people that are like maybe a little bit behind me. It always comes whenever anyone criticizes you, it comes from a place of like scarcity or like of they're insecure. It comes from a place
they're
of
insecure.
They're like, oh, why would you do that? Like they're so insecure or whatever.
Yeah.
Or it's like your family and friends that are worried for you and they don't want you to like look like fail. They're worried
I know,
about
yeah,
you
because you're
failing.
like a public figure.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. What did your family say? Like, I mean, it's one thing when you're young, you're 22, 25. You're not 22, 25 anymore.
I was fortunate that my parents thought it was great.
Really?
Thought it was great. I mean, my dad was a very successful doctor, born in New York City, always loved disco. So he loved that I would play like the Bee Gees and stuff. And he worked hard his entire life and really never got to sort of celebrate that until actually my brother turned 21. Then he came to college when I was DJing, came to these shows, and it was so funny because everyone would be like, Dr. Sherman, can we get a Vegas bomb? And he'd be like, yeah.
Yeah. I prescribe one of those per hour.
Absolutely, yeah. So they were very supportive. And then when I went to Chicago, I had a job, I was working hard, and I think they just kind of thought I was having fun. And as the years went on and I had more success, they came to a lot of shows, and they love it. And before my dad passed away in 23, he told me, he said, you got to keep going with this. You make so many people happy. He used to listen to every single episode of the podcast and give me a grade. He asked for a glossary. And I was like, you're not my target market. Like, I'm not making a glossary for you to have.
For EDM terms?
When's the last time you thought about a glossary?
Well, first off, man, I'm sorry to hear about that with your
Yeah,
dad
it's
in 23.
it's all good, man. It's been really a great thing for me to continue it because he instilled that sort of pride that I had about it because I'm making people happy. And he became a doctor because he wanted to help people.
Yeah.
And I'm helping people in my own way too. So I don't think he even cared whether I was a doctor or I wasn't, as long as I was doing something that was helping others.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times when you're younger, like how old were you in 23?
About to be 33, so I was 31.
31. Like that's young.
It is,
to
for
lose
sure.
a parent.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when people lose a parent at a young age,
Yeah.
it like lights this fire.
It does. It has.
To like,
It really
like this stuff
has.
is precious.
Yeah, it's interesting you said that because a few days before he passed, he gave me and my brother this bag, literally like an old, wasn't a trash bag, but like a shopping bag of paper with these photos that were stuck together from a flood. And he said, I haven't shown you guys these before. It's before I ever met your mother. I haven't really talked about it. These photos are for you. And I started looking through these photos. I'm like, they're super old photos of my dad when he was in college. It was pictures of my cousin as a baby who's a few years older than me, and like envelopes to their address in Los Angeles. I was born in Los Angeles, actually, where my parents met at UCLA. They were both doctors.
How'd they end up in Indiana?
You should ask my mom. She would give you a whole podcast worth of that.
All
Yeah.
right. Fair.
She loves Indiana so much, though, actually. She coaches the Park Tudor women's lacrosse team here, has won a few state championships with Zionsville, Coach of the Year. Shout out to Leslie. But he gave me these photos, and after he passed, I separated them with distilled water, and I looked at all these, and I realized, oh my God, he was the same age that I am right now. And it made me think, wow, okay, let me think back to how much my dad accomplished, even passing away at 68 years old. I still have the rest of my life ahead of me. And when you turn 30, everyone says, oh, it's all downhill from here. No, it's not. It's uphill from here. Now I finally have my passion figured out. I have an amazing life partner, my wife, Maya. I have a beautiful golden retriever dog named Perry. And I have just a beautiful base of friends and people like you that I'm connecting with. And so I have this clarity. And it's funny. I feel like, as unfortunate as it is when a parent passes, you get this clarity in life about what is my purpose? What am I here to do? So now I have a fire right under me, man, that's just like, keep going, work hard, help people, do good, and it will come back for you. And I've never been more fulfilled.
Dude, that's amazing. That's it's an inspiring story. So I lost my mom in 2017.
Okay.
And it was like one of those life-changing moments.
You were young then too.
Yeah, it was a sophomore year of college. It was kind of one of those moments where I was like the typical fraternity guy at DePaul, like it was.
Yeah.
I was like not failing out of school, but I wasn't like being the best that I possibly could be. Of
course.
And then you like see this go down and like see the battles that people fight, and I came back and was like, dude, I want to make something. Like I want to like build a life that she would be proud of. And every day we kind of work towards that. And it's like ended up chasing this passion down, and here we are, and we don't look back, and we just keep rocking.
Cheers to that, man.
Cheers to that, brother.
That's awesome, man. Very cool. Look at you now. I'm sure she'd be proud of you.
Yeah, she would listen. She would also need a glossary, right? Like,
I bet our parents are watching this right now being like, these two idiots.
Like, come on, dude. I do want to talk about EDM in Indiana.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Like, I don't think that, Chicago, that scene, people think about it there.
Of course.
People don't really think about EDM in Indiana.
I think that there's a lot of truth to that. I think maybe the consensus is it's a lot of country here, just it being from Indiana. But I grew up on rap music. I didn't like country music for a long time, actually. And now these days, there's a lot of overlap with rap music and even country. Morgan Wallen, right, is not a true country guy. Like, it's pop. And a lot of times there's crossovers. There's an artist named Diplo, who I'm sure you've heard of.
Yeah.
He has released, I think he's going to release his third country album called Thomas Wesley. And it has a lot of flair of electronic music in it. And I just don't think that people know what they're listening to sometimes, right?
Well, and it's like you have Diplo X Morgan Wallen Heartless. You have
that song is so good.
Big X the Plug.
Big X the Plug.
And Bailey Zimmerman drop a song.
Exactly, dude.
Like, there is a lot of crossover there. Actually, I just listened to Morgan Wallen on Theo Von's podcast.
Oh,
he said he has a song out to Big X, but he hasn't gotten back on it yet.
Morgan Wallen and Big X.
I was like, dude, if I'm Big X the Plug and Morgan Wallen sends me a song, I'm getting that thing done that night.
Dude, real quick, how good is Theo Von?
Dude, it's so funny that he is good.
He's so good.
Like, at first you're kind of like, oh, why would I listen to this? And now I enjoy listening to it. Because it's like, it's random, but he's also inquisitive.
He's so genuinely curious and authentic.
And normal.
He's normal.
Well, he's crazy.
He's relatable.
But he's relatable in the sense of like, he kind of asks the questions that people are like, I was kind of thinking that too.
Yeah, he doesn't feel like he's smarter than you necessarily, which I feel like a lot of these like the podcasts, like the 60 minutes, like that's the opposite vibe that people want these days.
Yes.
They want relatable content. I think it's why podcasts are so popular now. But to answer your question more directly, let's look at the Snake Pit, for example. So I went to the Snake Pit in, I think it was 2012 or 13, and this is when Afrojack and Diplo played, actually, and I want to give one more person a shout-out. His name is King Topher now. He used to go by King Arthur. He's from Zionsville. He's one of my mentors. He's 10 years older than me. He has become an incredible, successful DJ, has been for a while, and now he's actually doing something really cool with Christian dance music called Rave Jesus. He's selling out shows across the country right now.
At Rave Jesus?
It's called Rave Jesus, okay? So it's like, he's making really spiritual music that honestly it's just core house music, just with a little bit different of a variety in the vocals. And there's huge acts that are getting in on this dude.
Yo.
So I want to give him a shout out. But
wait,
he played
Rave, so it's like, it's like they would remix like, and he walks with
maybe
me.
not that, but like it's the idea that Christians don't want to go to the club, right? Or like they feel like that's not where they want to be. But the experience of dance music live is truly spiritual. So he's giving people a space for that across the country, and it is blowing up.
I just imagine like pulling up to, because like, if you go to, depending on what church you go to, if you go to one of these more modern churches, they already have like a full rock band.
Dude, like, you're almost there.
Imagine pulling up and it's like, let the beat, the blood of Christ.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, it's true. And guess what? Those sober Christian fans most of the time are going way harder than any other diehard dance music
That
fan.
is true. Some of the most like sober religious people that I know go the hardest, like just dancing because they
don't need anything else,
man.
And I that didn't make sense to me for a long time, but I want to give Topher his respect. He's such a good guy.
Rave Jesus is sick.
Yeah, but so he played Tomorrowland main stage. He's got a song with 30 million plays, or is it? He's got billion, actually. I'm sorry. He's got a few billion ones.
What's his
Look
name?
up King Topher on Spotify. So he's got a few songs on there that I think he's
167,000 monthly listeners.
Yeah.
62 million on Insomnia.
Insomnia, that's right. He's done big remixes. He's made this shift to do Rave Jesus, still under King Topher, but it's doing really well. He opened for that show, right? This is a long time ago, 2012. So I just want to give people some perspective on the trajectory of a music career and how many times it can feel like it's slowing down. But plateauing is not slowing down. It's staying true to who you are and then eventually making a shift if it comes to you, whether it be spiritual or not, like it was for Toph. Yeah. So Snake Pit has been around for a long time, right? This was around the EDM boom a few years after. Afrojack is still a really big artist, but that was huge. Diplo, stuff like that. So dance music has been right under Indiana's feet this entire time, and we just consider Snake Pit to be the one big party thing. That's dance music. I've seen Hardwell there. I've seen all these other amazing acts. But I feel like dance music in Indiana is a lot bigger than people think. I mean, you look at where the trends are going these days. When I grew up, it was rap music. It was 50 Cent. It was Eminem. It was Wiz Khalifa. Well, guess what you guys were listening to when you were in college? You're listening to Chami and Mala. My brother is the one who showed me Mala, the masked guy, right? This underground house music. He was like, have you heard this guy Mala? I was like, who's Mala? And he showed me that, right? So I think it keeps getting younger because now the trends are Gen Z and even Gen Alpha as it continues to grow. What's popular on social media is electronic music. And it's coming back to SoundCloud as well, where you can listen to live sets, where people are releasing what couldn't be official released music so they can put it up on SoundCloud for people to stream. And I think in Indianapolis, there's a huge fan base here that loves dance music that maybe just doesn't want to live in Chicago or doesn't want to live in New York or doesn't want to live in LA. But I'm telling you, dance music is everywhere, and it's blowing up in the United States, like big. It is the talk of the town internationally. What's going on with dance music in the United States? Indiana, the Crossroads of America, the heart of the Midwest. There's the best people here, the best energy, and that's why I'm so excited to come back and play this weekend for my headline show, because I know growing up, my friends that still live here, they want it. They just don't know where to go. I think it's underserved here is all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you're in Indiana and you want to listen to EDM, where do you go?
Exactly. There's not many places to go. I've performed at the Patron Saint, but that's like a downtown club, right? Like people don't even really, Indianapolis.
When was the last time you performed at the Patron Saint?
3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Exactly. You got the Vogue. You got the Vogue. You have.
You're opening at the Vogue and then
for Shipwreck. Yeah. That's sick. Excited about that.
That's pretty dope.
Actually, weirdly enough, not even weirdly enough, but like it's full circle moment for me because I'm finally playing where I'm from. It's been hard to get gigs here just because there's not as many places to play. And that's kind of the part that's underserved.
Yeah, like what's the average size of like an EDM concert in Chicago that you're like playing?
500 to 1,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're kind of smaller, more.
Yeah, and there's even tons more intimate between 100 and 250.
I think I followed this guy, House Calls.
House Calls is a great example.
Like,
I know them very well.
Plays big concerts in small spaces or something like that.
Yeah. So they're a collective. I just say collectives. That's kind of what we can consider them. But they're really a community builder. So they've given opportunities. They do something called area code, where they bring in somebody from a different part of the world, another area code, and they bring them to Chicago. They barely announce the lineup. A lot of times you haven't even heard of these acts, and they do it in these secret places. They just did one at this massive Indian restaurant in the West Loop in Chicago that you've been past a million times, and it looked so sick. And their events, they've done airplane hangars, and they took people on helicopter tours around Chicago. It's a one-of-a-kind experience. And I think that's what Indianapolis is looking for.
They kind of start in the bigger metros. Yeah. Like what's going, like I'm sure that like pop-up shows have been happening in LA for a long, long time.
Oh yeah, of course. New York, LA, all those places.
Yeah.
San Francisco. And I think when you think about it, when you break it down, Nate, the scene is made up of communities. Yeah. The community in Indianapolis is just a little bit not disbanded, but they're just not together because there's not a space for it. And I think it's because it's an intimidating place to try and throw events, which is why there's not many people that do, because it's looked at as a non-dance music hub. I'm just saying, there are lots of people here who love dance music. Yeah. That is a fact. That is just a fact.
It just needs someone to, like an organizer.
Yeah, so...
Who's going to head up the local organizing committee?
I will say this. If Indianapolis or dance music in general was where it is at now, and I was graduating IU, I think I would feel a little bit differently about moving to Chicago.
Really?
I really would. I do think that...
Because it's almost like you could have been a leader.
Exactly, and that's why it's been tough to make it, because there's so much competition out there. But what I've realized, especially recently, is there's nobody doing this that's from Indiana, really, except me and Topher. So by wearing my heart on my sleeve and repping the Pacers and talking about the Colts and telling my story and doing all these things, I'm the area code 317 guy in these group chats. Everything else is New York and LA. I'm the 317, and I'm proud of that. And I think, yes, I would feel differently in that. And listen, man, I'm happy to continue to build a community here. And I'm hoping that people that come to these shows that I'm playing will meet and say, hey, like, I've been following Sherm, or I'm from this place, I'm from that place, or you know, just you got to get together. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's been fun to hear your story. I will say you are a Pacers guy. We have to talk about the Pacers. How are we feeling?
Listen, man, I got my Tyrese Halliburton shoes on right now.
Those are sick.
It's so sick, so comfortable, by the way, for anyone wondering.
This was not an advert. Like, Tyrese did not pay us to give him free ads here, but
he did not. But,
good shoe.
But yes, good shoe, great player. We are up 1-0 on Cleveland right now. I'm feeling very good about that. I have been to a lot of away Pacers playoff games. I went to Game 7 at Madison Square Garden last year where they won and broke an NBA shooting record. It was unbelievable. I only stood up once to clap, and my wife made me sit down because I got yelled at by many New York Knicks fans. They're very intense there, but actually I sat next to a nice family, so don't be so intimidated. The security guards were the meanest, actually. They were like, you can't go in this entrance. I was like, it says this entrance. They go, no, you can't go in this entrance. Maybe go to another entrance. They sent me back. They were like, I don't know if they were communicating to each other, but like, couldn't get in MSG.
Yeah, this dumb Indiana guy.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, literally.
Send him around the block.
Dude, you know,
Code 42.
The funniest part of that was, we were leaving that Sunday night, and they played on a Sunday. So you put your suitcases in one of those suitcase stores. I don't know if people had to do this. It's the sketchiest thing ever. You're like, I'm just leaving all my valuables in a random bodega, but whatever.
This app says it's safe.
Yeah, the app says it's safe. Suitcases.com or whatever it is. And so I'm carrying around in a bag a Reggie Miller jersey and a Tyrese Halliburton jersey because I can't go walking around downtown New York with an Indiana Pacers jersey. They are not liked there for many reasons. And I'm going past all these New York Knicks bars. I see a Pacers fan, put my jersey on. We like see each other from a distance. We're like, oh my God, we hugged each other. It was like literally like you're out in the desert. Like, you have water.
Yeah. My brother, it's dangerous out here.
It was amazing. It was amazing. They won. Anyway, I've been to so many away playoff games. I'm really excited. I'm going to, I think I went to one when I was young, much younger, but I haven't been to a Pacers playoff game in a long time. And I'm going with my mom on Mother's Day, so I'm very excited about
a home Pacers
home game. Yes, next Sunday. Yeah, I just think, you know, being a lifelong Pacers fan and Indiana sports fan, we go through it together, man. And I think that's the beauty of small market teams.
Okay. I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
And the Pacers are hot right now.
Yeah, they are, which why I'm bragging.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When you're up in Chicago and people ask about where you're from,
Yeah.
like, what is Chicago's perspective of Indiana?
They definitely don't really respect it.
No.
Not really. I definitely know a lot of true Chicago people. The Malort drinkers, the, you know, Chicago Bears fans. They're gritty, they're stubborn, they're good people, but man, they don't really respect Indiana. And you know what's funny? People from the region, Northwest Indiana, they don't say they're from Indiana. They say they're like Chicago land. I'm like, you are over the border. Like Maryville? Are you kidding me? Munster? Listen, Munster is Indiana, people.
Yeah. Like, you can try to claim Chicago region, but you're from Indiana.
I will say they respect that I'm proud of where I'm from, just like them. People from Wisconsin respect Indiana. I will say that.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
They do not like the Pacers, but they do respect people from Indiana. We have a lot of commonalities, I would say, for sure.
Yeah.
Same thing with Minnesota, too.
Wisconsin definitely doesn't like the Pacers.
No.
Definitely doesn't like Indiana.
They definitely don't like Tyrese.
But they respect it because they're like, we're similar. Like, same but different.
I was at the Game 3 Milwaukee Bucks game just recently, right? And this, you know, when like little kids do interviews or whatever and they're walking around with a camera, it's like a Milwaukee Bucks team. I'm standing there and waiting in line for a Spotted Cow, which is a great beer from Wisconsin. For those that don't know, it's amazing.
Respect, yeah.
Right? I'm standing there in my Tyrese jersey. I'm not bothering anybody. The kid comes up, he pokes me, he goes, hey, how many times is Giannis going to dunk on a Pacer today? And I look at him, I go, probably at least 10. I mean, he's one of the greatest players in the NBA. And I kind of flipped the switch on this kid, right? Like, and I was like, yeah, dude, like, congratulations to you guys for winning a championship in 2021. Like, it's so cool. Small market teams got to stick together. And even the media lady was like, yeah, he's right, he's right. After they were all booing me. And I say this to all small market teams.
That's like the most Indiana thing ever.
I know, like, right?
You try to talk smack to me? Don't worry, I'll talk about myself.
Yeah, no, I agree. Listen, the Pacers have a lot of faults.
It's like when I like, that's a really, really nice coat, and you're like, yeah, thanks. It was $2.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually picked it up out of a trash can outside. You can't have nice things,
dude. I can't have nice things. I can't say no. I held the door open for way too long. Like, you could be half a mile away, and I see you coming. I'm holding that door open.
Do people in Chicago think that you're weird for that? They're like,
sure.
Dude, I'm like, off. Come on, stop it.
I'm overly nice, but I can't help it.
I mean, that's just the Hoosier way.
It's the Hoosier
That's
way.
the Hoosier
man.
way, baby.
Yeah.
I definitely feel what you're saying. Every time, like Chicago, I think I've lost a lot of my college friends that are from Chicago. They like as soon as he started posting all the Indiana, they're like, "Nah, I'm out, dude. No chance."
Yeah, I don't know why they're hateful in that way.
I love
too.
a lot of people.
Yeah,
There's just something about Chicago that doesn't do it for me.
I get it, brother.
Like,
I get
and
it.
I think it's the bookends. I think
It's the
like,
bookends for sure.
I think that it's the bookends when I drive into town, the traffic's bad and I'm angry. And when I drive out of town, the traffic's bad and I'm angry. So like
I get
in the
it,
middle, I
yeah.
park in Wrigleyville. I go to Old Crow. I'm having a good time.
Sure.
Like that part. If I could just like teleport. But the bookends of a Chicago trip are always brutal.
Yeah,
So that's my take on it.
I know what you mean, and I know a lot of people that come to visit Chicago and always remind me of why they love living in Indiana. And I literally do what I did to that kid. I go, listen, if I lived in Indianapolis, I'd be a season ticket holder for the Pacers, half season for the Colts. I'd
Probably own a home.
I would have a backyard and I'd mow my lawn.
Amen.
And I look forward to that one day, but it doesn't happen in Chicago. So
It's different. It's different though. Pros and cons, trade-offs.
it's not too far. I come here all the time. I'm here at least 6 times a year.
At least 6 times for tax purposes.
And I rep Indiana outside of Indiana for Indiana. Okay. I
Amen.
do, always.
I rep Indiana inside Indiana for Indiana.
Yeah, that must
but
be
you're,
nice.
You're repping it out.
That
outside,
must be
which
nice,
is like,
Nate.
You walk into Miami and you got a Tyrese hat and they're like, who is this guy?
No, you know what's funny? You go that far away and people have no idea what Indy is.
That would be funny. I should go to I should go to New York and like have a blank map and say, point out Indiana.
Yeah, no, they don't know.
I could educate some.
They don't. Some California people, they're like, I was watching Game 3 of the playoffs last year against the Bucks, like on the beach in a Tyrese jersey, and I was like cheering in the corner, like it was the crazy game where Tyrese hit that game winner, and I'm cheering. They went into overtime, and people are like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, "Basketball." They're like, "Basketball." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "What do you guys do here?"
Yeah. Like they're like, oh, like where's the water? Where's
From
the
the
surfer?
Hoosier State, man. Like basketball is in my genes. It's in my blood. I saw the watch shot versus Kentucky, man. Come on.
You were that was like, was that your
Freshman year.
yeah?
I had student section tickets. Just so happened to have them. Probably the best sports experience of my life. It was unbelievable. I got trampled and then didn't end up going down, so I took videos of everything. But it was amazing.
Respect.
Yeah.
Sherm, dude, it's been awesome having you on the show.
Nate, thanks so much for having me, man.
We have the same 3 questions that we ask everyone
Okay.
that comes on the show.
Yeah.
And you're gonna love this because it's all about Indiana.
All right.
And you already kind of shared. I was gonna ask what the song, like, if you need to get a crowd going. Actually, we're gonna take it out of the DJ realm.
Okay.
If you're on the aux cord on a party bus, you find yourself holding a phone attached to the music.
Wow.
If I find myself holding the phone, trying to get people amped up, do you have a top 3? Do you have like a top 3 songs we got to play that's going to turn any function up a notch?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can't go along with Headlines by Drake. I think people start to hear that and they go, oh, I haven't heard this one in a while. Then they realize, like, oh, I know every single
too
word.
Strung out on confidence.
Exactly.
On compliments. Started not to
Give up and stop fearing the consequence.
Drink to every number because we drink too much.
I'm just getting this guy hyped up in a
Hey,
podcast
come
studio.
on,
We're
all right,
underground
dude,
right now,
let's
bro.
go. Let's go. That's one for sure.
That one works. That
All right,
one
that's
works.
one. We got 2 more. We got 2 more spots.
I mean, dude, you cannot go wrong with Taylor Swift, New Romantics. I think that one really gets people going.
Hold on. That might be a Chicago poll, dude.
Nah, dude,
New
no,
Romantics?
No. Yeah, if I could put on a remix of it even
Are
too.
you like you're telling me in any 3 locations this is going to be one of them?
Yeah, if I can put on the Joel Freck remix, actually, I think it's called. Yeah.
Joel?
It's good. Because, baby, I could build a castle. It's so good. I mean, Cruel Summer works too, but I'm a little more boutique than that. Yeah, get the people clapping. Come on. Yeah. Thanks, Taylor. It's good, dude. Builds up.
All right.
He gets it. You can see that
we said
working.
Cruel Summer was I like Cruel Summer.
Cruel Summer absolutely works.
That one slaps.
I try and, like I said earlier, give the people what they didn't know they wanted. They're like,
No
oh.
one ever knows. They don't know that they want Cruel Summer, but then they hear it and start going. They're like,
For sure.
how did he know?
It absolutely
Is it kind of
works.
like guilty pleasure music?
It really
It's like,
is.
as like a guy, like as a 28-year-old young man,
Yeah.
I don't want people. I mean, like sometimes I don't want them to know that I love Taylor Swift, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of love Taylor Swift. All right, and the final song, What is it?
I mean, you go with Jimmy Buffett, Margaritaville.
If you're on the aux cord in any scenario, that plays. Like you get a party bus with your friends to any concert, wasted away.
Because everyone's looking to sing salt, salt, salt.
Yep, that's a good one.
R.I.P. to a legend, man.
Dude, I had his manager on.
Did you?
Yeah, Tom Batista.
Is he from Indiana?
Yes, sir. He is the co-owner of Bluebeard.
What?
Yeah, his son. Oh, well, his son is Tom and Eddie work together.
Yeah.
Tom was Jimmy Buffett's manager for 25 years.
That
Stage
is
manager.
so
Stage
cool.
manager.
That's a very
So,
important role.
Yeah, not like the business manager, but the stage manager of like
No Tom, no Jimmy.
make sure it works, dude.
Shout out to the tour and stage managers, man.
Right.
That's so cool.
And we could do like a whole other episode about.
We have a few episodes we could do based
Yeah,
on this
well,
one.
then when you come back in town in June,
Let's
we'll,
do it.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Final 3 questions. Sorry, we had to get the top 3. When you have the,
I hope people appreciate those answers, by the way.
I would say, like, you can't go wrong in Indiana with Thunderstruck. You know, like people are gonna like.
Dude, that reminds me of standing around a bonfire late nights and playing Thunderstruck, and
Yeah,
it just
like-
turns into a crazy energy at a bonfire.
That one plays pretty well.
Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah, that'll do.
That'll do.
I mean, I still, but for all ages, I'm thinking because like if you went to college sometime in the late 2010s,
Yeah.
like anything like old school Chainsmokers gets you going.
For sure. I mean, Closer would hit.
Oh, it never doesn't hit.
Roses, I think Roses.
That was like the OG one. Like
That's the OG.
that was my freshman year of college, and
Yeah.
I thought that was the coolest stuff ever.
That's a lot of millennials' wedding song, dude.
Dun, dun, dun. This has literally just become like the Nate Sings acapella show.
Yeah. Let's rebrand.
Yeah, absolutely. Come
Get
on.
in.
Get acapella.
Get in and get on
Yes.
the mic, Nate.
Get on the mic. Here we go. All right, final 3 questions. Question 1. What's something the world needs to know about Indiana?
How many different types and versions of Indiana you can get? Indianapolis is the melting pot of Indiana, obviously. But you go all the way up to northwest or northeast Indiana, like Angola, right? Great Lake Country up there. Good people. That's Lake Country, man. Southern Indiana, Bloomington, good people, good food. You go West Lafayette, Purdue, that sort of culture is so much different. You go all the way down to Madison, Indiana, get the regatta experience. Evansville is ridiculous.
What got you tied into the regatta?
That's a good question. My best friend, Dominic, is from Zionsville as well. And his dad is from Madison, Indiana. So he was going to the regatta his entire life. So I've been to the regatta like 6 times. It is so much fun.
It's lit.
You just sit on a riverbank and drink for like 3 days and watch these high-speed boats go around, and it's a great time.
I feel like the regatta, I actually haven't been, but I've just seen a bunch about it.
It's
and
awesome.
I want to go.
It's so much fun, dude.
I love it. This is where you get to shed some light on something that people need to know about.
Yeah.
So what's a hidden gem in Indiana?
The Friendly in Zionsville has the best wings in Indiana with the buffalo sauce, okay? And if it's a little too much for you, you can get the buffalo wrap, all right? Just to down it a little bit. Ranch, no blue cheese, just my opinion.
Yeah.
I think that's a hidden gem. Very old place, too. I don't think they've updated it since they opened type place.
It's on the bricks, right?
It's on the bricks. On the bricks. Let's go, baby.
Yeah.
I think that's a great
And
one.
then maybe you hit up there and then you head up to Rush on Main for a little beer afterwards.
I was just there doing karaoke not so long ago.
Oh, like Friday night karaoke, Rush on Main. Never a bad time.
I sang California Girls, which is what I sang as part of a 3-part medley in Mr. Zionsville, where I actually performed and sang and danced.
Oh, did you win?
I got Mr. Spirit. So, not officially. Not the judges didn't vote for me, but the people did.
Yeah, there's so many times in my life where like I've won the Mr. Spirit thing.
Dude, I know.
you're not,
We give
like,
that energy, don't
You're not
we?
actually the best.
Yeah.
But like, man, you brought some energy.
The show can't go on without us.
Yeah, like you gotta have it, but they're like, well,
Cheers to
they're like,
Mr.
they're like,
Spirits.
Sherm, GPA was a part of this too. And like, oh,
Yeah, that's not my core competency.
yeah, like, but come on, my energy. Like I remember we did like a talent show my senior year.
Yeah.
And I did the Footloose dancing scene.
Did you?
Yeah, like the warehouse dancing scene.
Oh
you know
my
what I'm talking about?
gosh.
Like, oh, dude,
That-
ended by jumping like off the stage into where the judges were. It was pretty lit. They said, "Wow, that was something."
I love that.
Final question. You
Yep.
get to share the love with another Hoosier. This is a time where we can learn about new people doing really cool stuff. Who's a Hoosier that we need to keep on our radar? Someone who's doing big things.
Dude, I want to give a shout out to Ben King, actually, who's one of the talent buyers at 45. He's awesome. He's from Indiana. He's lived in Denver for quite some time, and I've connected with him. He's the one who helped me book this headline show. He's bringing in really cool acts to Indiana. And he's very, very proud Hoosier, and it's been great. I haven't even met him yet, and that's how you know he's a good Hoosier, because I'm like, this guy just like owns it, and he's doing just great things for the dance music scene here, and I think that's so cool.
Heck yeah, I love it. Sherm, thanks for coming on. We're gonna see you June 6th at the headline show.
Yeah, get your tickets now. It is going to be a one-of-a-kind experience. I really mean that. I'm putting together something special. It's not just going to be another DJ set. It's going to be a real show, and I've got a few surprises in store.
Oh, maybe we learn about some of these surprises and help, make some interesting stuff happen there.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
will.
I love it, dude. Well, hey, thanks for coming on, and we'll talk to you soon, all right?
Thanks, Nate.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Get In. If you like what you heard, make sure you leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. This show is made possible by our friends up at Sweetwater. Whether you're looking to start a podcast or take your content to the next level, click the link in the description to see all of my gear recommendations at sweetwater.com. If you want a behind-the-scenes look at everything we're doing across the state, make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Nate Spangle. Thank you so much for listening and being part of what makes the Hoosier State great. We'll see you next time here on Get In.